بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه الصالحين وعلى من استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. In the name of God, the most gracious, most merciful. Today we started reciting the Surah Al-Kahf. Some of you were not here. Surah Al-Kahf is a chapter in the Quran that has many beautiful stories in it. The first of the story is about some young people that basically left their country, their city, wherever they lived, because the king in that country was asking them to worship other than God. And these people were monotheists, they only believed in one God, and they were really serious about their religion. And so if they stayed, they would either have to worship other than one God, or they would be put to death, they would be persecuted. So they traveled away from their town, and they ended up, they also had a dog with them, and it is not clear whether there were 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, because in the ayah we talked about it, Allah talks about it, but really it is not important how many there are. The important thing is what they actually did. So they left their family. Naturally they had family, they had brothers and sisters and mother or maybe siblings. They were young, maybe they were not married. They left everything. They left everything because they did not want to worship other than one God. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, glory be to Him, He basically led them to a cave. They decided to stay in this cave and take a nap, take a rest while they're, deciding what to do. And God saved them by putting them into a deep sleep. Happened to be like 309 years. They basically were sleeping, and Allah was turning them from right to left as the sun was shining on their cave and basically sitting down. So their body was moving, they were not aware of it. Eventually they wake up and asking each other what happened and how long were we asleep, and some of them said maybe a day or part of the day. This also reminds us, and hereafter when we were resurrected, Allah tells us in the Quran, people ask each other how long would it be so before we were resurrected? Some people say a day or part of the day. That means the life of this world is so limited and so small, so short compared to the life of the hereafter. So the point about bringing this up, first of all, on Fridays is very important. The Muslims recite this whole chapter because it has many stories, it strengthens us. And a lot of good things about this chapter we recited. But we recited this first part because it is related to what we're talking about today, which is increasing our faith. How to increase our faith. And when we compare ourselves with these people, I myself compare myself, and I think I have so much shortcoming. I can't even compare myself, leaving everything they had for the sake of Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved them, So this is an incredibly powerful story, but not all of us are in that state with our faith. But thank God, the fact that you are all here, that means every single one of you have in your heart desire to increase your faith and be closer to Allah. The Quran, I cannot stress enough to put the Quran as your number one companion on a daily basis. Learn it, and anything is related to it. Learn to recite the Quran in Arabic language, because this is ibadah, this is worship. When you recite the Quran in Arabic language, and of course, may Allah knows best, even if you recite it in your own language, may Allah accept it as worship. But we know for sure when you recite the Quran in Arabic language in a correct way, this is like worship. So you're gaining two things. You're gaining knowledge, you're also worshiping. And you also, when you learn to recite in a beautiful sound, by the way, go to www.quranexplorer.com. Quranexplorer.com. You have different reciters, you choose what you want. You can choose how many times you can recite the ayah. This is for me on a daily basis. In fact, even if I open my thing, you can see. I am just finishing Surah Al-Kahf. You can learn, you can recite,
Yeah, both of the good side is the fruit.
Yeah, and the prayer was very nice.
Subhanallah, this is the Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, all of this that we say, they're really, really important. And if some of you want to borrow this while we're here, look at it, you can, because of time, I don't want to go over it. With some of these verses, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us what to say, and you get 1,000 rewards, how much rewards you get. We have to engage in remembrance of Allah, but not on our own whims. We don't go sit down and say something, like 1,000 times, just because somebody else told us. We have to say things, do things as far that are sunnah, that Rasulullah has told us to do and he has recommended us to do. Another thing, by the way, when we want to come close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we want to increase our faith, we have to ask Allah for forgiveness. All of us have committed sins, and maybe still committing sins on a daily basis. We don't know, maybe minor things with our eyes, maybe with our whatever. We ask forgiveness, ask Allah to forgive us for our sins, and He does. And we not only do all of our obligatory prayers and actions that is we have to do for our deen, we have to do things that are sunnah, the prayer, sunnah prayer. This is what other ways that would bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to also realize that Allah does answer our prayers. We have a beautiful verse here that says, when my servants ask you, O Muhammad, about me, tell them, verily, I am close to them. I listen to prayers of everyone who calls on me, and so let them respond to me and believe in me in order that may be guided. We have to have excellent manners. We have to develop excellent manners. We cannot just say, I want to develop faith, but then our behavior is not proper. We have to have really good, proper manners, especially with those who are not Muslims. We have to behave properly, and with Muslims as well. One of the famous things with some of the people in this country is they are not on time. They don't keep the time properly. They give a promise, they don't keep the promise, and everything else. And then they pray, the daily prayer, everything is there. But it's as if that's a separate thing from this. Building a character is very important. We have to have good character. We have to have the character like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had. At least we cannot be exactly like him. We have to strive to be like him, to like his wife. We read about his wives and their characters, what it was like. We have to be like them. Of course, I have a very beautiful dua here from Imam Zain al-Abidin, but I don't want to read it to you right now. We will maybe take some questions, maybe comments. If there is time after you have some snacks, maybe you come back and I will read something to you which is really beautiful. It's like a dua that you would want to make to Allah, and He's making it for you, as if something that we want to make dua, we don't know what word to use, and He has used it. It's very beautiful. By the way, you can find the Sahifa Sajjadiyya online, and this is the book I have. This is the supplication of, you can see, it's falling apart.
What's the name of the book?
It's Sahifa Sajjadiyya. I will give you the link, actually, inshallah. I don't have it here with me, inshallah. So, I just want to wrap up this talk, and just saying that the person's faith, the growth of a person's faith is totally dependent on how much a person strives for it. Okay? So we cannot sit and say, I want to have strong faith, and don't do anything about it. You want to have strong faith, you have to do something. Well, it's not only the doing. Somebody could be doing all the doing, and the faith is not. It's a combination of work of the heart and the actions. Heart with the action. They go hand in hand together. How do we strengthen our heart? It is really, really, really important that we are at the company of the righteous people. This includes even our own families. Sometimes our family don't practice. They have the TV on and all kinds of stuff going on that we don't like it. We're in the same house. Where can we go? If you cannot change them, at least remove yourself from the room where something displeasing to Allah. Sometimes we are in difficult situations. You have to do the best that you can to remove yourself from the places or people that are bad influence on you. But really, really, you have to have company of people that remind you of Allah. You know, if someone is wearing hijab, nice hijab and nice niqab and everything else, oh, you can say, oh, she's extremist and everything else. No, the ones that wear niqab, they're the ones that are really, mashallah, very serious about the deen. It doesn't mean that everybody has to wear it. But these are the company of the people that man is wearing, oh, he has a beard, oh, he's extremist. You know, the parents don't want the daughters to marry somebody who has a beard because he's extremist. What is that? What was the Prophet ﷺ, he was an extremist? He told the man, to have beard. What is it? Now Mubarak is in jail. They cannot put you in jail. So be careful how much negativity has been put in the mind of especially Egyptians over these few decades because of all the anti-Islam activities that the former government had put in the mind of the people, especially parents. And the daughters are being persecuted even by their own parents because they want to practice. So be careful so that you don't fall victim. If you have this situation, do the best that you can to be strong with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Keep the company of the people, good people. Recite the Quran, practice, and don't give up on your faith. And attend halaqas like this because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us that the angels are present at the place where remembrance of Allah is mentioned. So this is the last of my talk, and if anybody has any comments, please.
Just a comment about the niqab. That many times it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean niqab or lahya. It's the beard. It doesn't mean she or he's more religious.
Yes.
Yeah, like when you look in the metros, like all these women wear niqab, like these beggars or who are selling the stuff. Maybe they just wear it because they don't want to be recognized.
Yes, naturally, this is true with everything. And in Saudi Arabia, a lot of women wear niqab. And I had a driver that he said he drives Saudi people bring him to the hotel. And he said they're wearing niqab, they come from the airport, they go to the hotel, they're wearing bathing suit and go by the food.
Yes.
And they came in the hotel with the niqab.
Actually, even in the plane, on the plane.
Yeah. It's the action of the heart together with the action of the limbs.
And I have one question. You said that two elements which weaken your faith, shaitan, which was the other element?
No, there were two elements. One is weaken your faith, one is strengthen your faith.
Yes.
The weaken is from shaitan, the strengthen is from, our faith, the ilham, the inspiration, the angels, are there to remind us.
And nafs al-ammara bis-su is also weakening the faith.
Yes, nafs ammara bis-su, this is something that, the self, they said the nafs, the self, is telling the person to do a wrong thing. But I did actually some research on this particular one because some people said, the nafs of the person itself would make us do something wrong. And I did really talk with some scholars on this. At the end of the day, at the bottom line, this nafs is influenced by shaitan. It is not, by itself that it does that. It is influenced by shaitan. Because our nafs, we know it came from Allah at the time of birth is pure. How is it that becomes impure? So through so many different things. So it could be a criminal, become criminal, that different things were affected. How does he become criminal? How does a person says, go and kill somebody? What comes into his mind? Again, it is shaitan.
So I have a comment to make about that, because when you say that, I think there's a very fine line, and when you say that, you can easily slip into the, well, it was the shaitan that made me do that, so you blame the shaitan, but it's really, I think the core is the nafs, and then you have that variable between, the shaitan and the angel, or the good or the bad, whatever you want to call it. But in the end, it is the nafs, and that's what you're going to be judged
Yeah, you're the
on.
one who has the choice.
Well, naturally, this is very natural.
So it's
because shaitan by himself does not force us to
Exactly.
He says in the Quran that I will give them the wrong, I will give them the bad inspiration, and in the day of judgment, he says, I'm the one that whispered these things in you, and you're the one that listened and acted upon it. Who is it that listened? It is our nafs that listen to it. So we cannot blame shaitan. We're the one. At the same time that shaitan gives us these bad ideas, also the angels also tell us, no, don't do this. Don't do this. Which one are we going to listen to? At the end of the day, it is our nafs that takes on and carries on the orders. We listen to him or we listen to the angels.
And about this topic, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the key to beat him. When we say just a word, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, يعني he is so weak, alhamdulillah.
Yes, we have to realize, the sister is saying that Allah has given us the key to seek refuge from him by saying أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, to stay away from. But unfortunately, sometimes even saying that doesn't necessarily. I remember one time I was so upset with my son, I was kicking him in the butt. He was young, and my husband kept saying, say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. I was saying أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. I was still kicking him in the butt, because he had done something really, really, I don't remember. He was young, kicking in the أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان. My emotions were too hyped up. But yeah, you're right. We have to seek refuge. But Shaitan himself said, I will go to deceive them from the right and the left and front and the back, except those who believe. So that means we have to strengthen our belief so we won't get affected by him. Inshallah. May Allah guide us. Yes. Go ahead, honey.
Some people ask that why you didn't look first Islam, because you were Muslim, you were born as a Muslim. How first Hinduism and all this, and after that Islam. For example, me, I was Christian and I started with Christianity, and then I went to
Islam. A good question. The sister's asking, why is it that you did not come to Islam first, even though, you were Muslim already. Why didn't you come to Islam first before you go to all these religions? When you go to, when you live in the West, you become diseased. Not everyone, but people that, especially, my parents, even though they were not practicing much, they were strict in some way. We had to come home certain time. There were restrictions. So the first thing I wanted to do when I went to US, even though my family was there, I was there with my father. The first thing I wanted to do, I wanted to have freedom. So when my father, first time I went out, came home at 10 o'clock, my father said, it's 10 o'clock. I said, I am 22 in this country. If you're after 18 years of age, you can do whatever you want to, and you cannot tell me what to do. I never had talked to my father like this. And he never, ever said one more word. I told him, don't tell me what to do. So I did whatever I wanted to do for as long as I did. It's because I wanted the freedom. And Islam, I knew if I went to Islam would not. And so I went to Hinduism. They were all doing all kinds of things with each other. So I was still kind of fitting with my mentality until slowly, all of it is by Allah. How he took me, if he brought me to a strong practicing Islam, I would have never practiced. So I went slowly to the Christianity. I thought this is the last of it. And then when I saw not this worshiping Jesus as God, at the end he brought me to Islam. Now that's why I have embraced it like my life depends on it. Alhamdulillah. Any other? Okay, please.